Welcome back, everybody, to Hayes Tech ROM Reviews. Today we're going to go over Unholy-Devs for the Nexus 6. This is a fairly new ROM. I definitely wanted to give it a try. I've heard a lot about it. I do know that I've run their kernel every so often on some of the other ROMs I've tried. It does come stock in some of the other ROMs that are out. So I wanted to flash this with the kernel installed just to make sure that everything works. I've told you guys in the past, the only reason I like to do videos with my favorite kernel installed is because I'm worried about forced encryption or anything like that. So let's go ahead and get into this. This is Unholy-Devs or Unholy ROM version 231. This is for the Nexus 6. There's the build date. You can view the changelog by clicking on it here. There you go. And these are the recent additions. You can scroll down and look through the past additions or pulls or anything else that they did, changes. That's why it's called a changelog. But this will give you an idea. And why is it doing that? We're going to shut that off right now and make sure that everything else is up, media, and yeah, okay, we're good to go. So this is for the Nexus 6, Android version 7.1.2. It does have May security patch in it. As you guys can see, I am running their kernel, Unholy Unicorn. So my guess is it's Unholy's take on Dirty Unicorn's Blood kernel, which is an awesome kernel in its own right. I used to actually use it quite a bit. And I'm running SE Linux enforcing, although I haven't pulled up my kernel auditor mod yet, and just to see if I could actually change that to permissive or not. Everything's working, so I'm really not worried about it. So anyways, moving on. We're gonna go ahead and go on up into the Unholy settings. In here, you're gonna find pretty much all of the custom settings, and this is an AOSP based ROM. So first up is going to be gestures. You have your jump to camera, lift to check phone if you guys want to use that, or ambient, your tap to wake. I don't use that feature. I did test it and it does work. So definitely the kernel is built for that to work with it. Now if you swap kernels around and use a custom kernel that doesn't support that feature, that feature may not work for you. So just bear in mind. And then tap lock screen to sleep. Under hardware, the only thing that is there right now is going to be the volume rocker options. So if you guys want to set up your volume rockers to, play music and skip tracks and stuff like that, this is going to be where you do that at, or under these settings right here. Next up is the lock screen settings. Alarm text, album cover art, change or charging info, clock, date, torch, stuff like that. That's all in here. Miscellaneous settings, launch music app player or your music player app. If you guys are into that, this is going to be where you go for that. You click on that. Right now I have it disabled, but of course you guys can pick whatever setting you want to use. I do like the show Bluetooth battery status. I like that option. I do use my Bluetooth a lot. Especially with my Wear watch now, my 360, and that does work. And then underneath that is your scrolling cache. You guys can disable it if you want. I just normally run with the default enabled settings. I don't usually mess with that much. There is a repo out there that will allow you to change that around, kind of like the exposed module. It's called scrolling modifier. That's a really nice option to have, but I can understand why this developer does not put it in his ROM. He wants his ROM to be super stable with just enough features for it to be a custom ROM. So just so you guys are aware of that. There may be new features coming. I would definitely check in with them. Keep an eye on the changelog, stuff like that. Next up is multitasking. You do have your recent options here. I'm running full screen. You don't have to run immersive full screen. You can go default, status bar, nav bar. That's entirely up to you. It does give you the grid pattern or the standard NuGet pattern that we're used to. And right now, if I go into my recents, you guys will see that I am running the grid pattern. I'm just trying it out. Also, I wanted to bring up that since my grid pattern's up, the 3-minute battery mod is not working with this ROM. Hopefully, somebody will come up with a zip that will allow this to work. That would be awesome. Again, guys, I think I don't need a lot of options, but I really love this feature. I'd love to see this incorporated, or at least allow it to work. That would be awesome. We're going to go back into the settings. If you disable the enable grid style recents, and then you hit your recents, you're going to be greeted with the standard recents that we're all used to using, which is right there. And if you guys notice up on top, I do have my RAM status showing, and as you can see, I've got quite a bit of free RAM available. So even though I'm recording and doing a lot of other things, the RAM management with this kernel and the ROM, the way it's set up, is really, really good. Kudos to them for that. I think they've done a great job with their setup. You do have the clear all button, and then the clear all button locations. They give you 6 positions, so you can pretty much put it anywhere you want on your device. I chose the bottom left corner. That's just where I like to run it. Let's see. Navbar settings are up now. They do have the DU settings, or the DU navbar settings in it. They don't have pulse. I'd love to see pulse in here. I really do like that feature, but again, guys, I can understand why they don't, and that's the way custom ROMs are. If they would put every feature that another custom ROM had in it, well, then they'd just be that other custom ROM with a different name. That's why you look at the ROMs and what's out and pick the features that you want, and then determine on how stable you want the ROM to be. Try it out, and then you go with it. They do have the DU nav and fling settings, though. All you do is go to here and you pick smart bar or fling. Yeah, listen to me, nav or fling. Smart bar fling. I'm going to go into the fling settings, and I'm going to let you guys see what it is. That way you know what the settings, or what all settings are in there. I'm not sure how many custom color settings they have. They do have custom color settings, which is cool. They do have the ripple in there, so that's pretty cool. Alright, that would be it for the settings for Fling. I'm going to go ahead and go back now. We're going to go back into the Smart Bar. Bring up the Smart Bar settings, let you guys see what's in there. These are the settings for that. Of course, if you guys want to change the buttons around the bottom, you want them to do custom features, you hit the toggle button editor right here. You touch it, and you can see that red X pop up in the upper right-hand corner. If you hit that, that will allow you, or not if you hit that. When you see that there, now you can long press on any of the buttons at the bottom like this. I'm going to long press on there. That brings up settings that you guys can change and do anything you want with that, okay? So we're just going to go ahead and go back. I'm going to get out of that. We're going to go back. You do have the your portrait height, landscape height. This is for height. This is for setting your height. Let me see. See how I just kicked that up a little bit? Notifications are up next. You have your notification battery lights here. You can change your LED settings, your battery light, your notification lights, and it does have blinking. Your blinking LED. I know I've tried it, and it's working very, very good. So if you guys are into having your blink settings for your LED, this ROM does support it. Heads up is here. You can turn it on or off. I always run with heads up off. I don't like it. I think it's intrusive, but that's just me. I know a lot of people that depend highly on heads up. So this is where you're going to go to turn that on or off. And then you have your status bar notifications. You can disable the immersive messages. Yes, thank you very much. Force expanded notifications, and then show notification count. If you guys want that, it's all there. Next up is going to be the quick settings. Basically, you have your advanced Bluetooth tile, data tile, Wi-Fi tile, your brightness slider. You can disable the quick settings on lock screen if you want. Your quick settings tile layout is right here. I'd love to see the columns. Actually, that's perfect. 5's great. No, that's columns. I want 3 columns. I would love to see 5 rows, but they only give us 3 rows. I just don't like that, because then you're swiping to the right, swiping to the right, swiping to the right. But a lot of LOS ROMs are like that, and I could live with it, you know. But at least they give you, they at least give you that option to change your columns up. So if you want to fit all of your stuff onto one screen, you can. It's just going to make your icons a lot smaller, and but it's there. Like I said, that's about the only thing I'd like to see changed in that. But then again, it wouldn't be their ROM. It'd be their ROM with my ideas in it, and that's not the way to do ROM building. You have your quick pull down. You can set that at right, left, always, or off. And then they do give you the tiles animations. Right now I'm using rotate as opposed to flip or none. And I am on fast and linear as far as the interpolar goes. You guys can set that up on any of the other ones or none at all. They do give you the header custom images, which I love. I'm glad that we finally got back to having that. As you guys can see, if you look at my header image now, I'm running random unholy headers. I figured it's their ROM. I would go ahead and showcase their headers. But, they'll run anything that you throw on it. I've got all the custom headers that I normally put on whenever I put a new ROM in. If you pick on the header packs, it's going to show all of the headers that I normally always throw on. My 6 headers, which I normally run 6, and pretty much anything else that's there, DNA headers if you want to run them. But, that's what's so nice about this. You can just pick random on that and just run pretty much any, all of them combined. You have the shadow header image. Now that's set right at about there. I don't like that. I like mine pretty much off. But what that does is it darkens it up. It kind of helps, I guess, so you can read it better in bright sunlight and some other things. But I really don't use my phone a lot in bright sunlight. I'm usually in the house or in my vehicle. I like to have that off. That really brings out the color of the header. But again, guys, that's why that slider's there, for you to adjust it to your like. And then, of course, last but not least, if you want to run in a static mode as opposed to dynamic, you can go here to the Browse Installed Headers. These are the standard ones right here. If you click on the drop down, that's going to bring down all the ones that you have installed. You can pick on one and then go through the ones that come with that pack. Long press on the one that you want, and it will permanently set that as your header. Last but not least is going to be status bar settings. First up's the battery options. Again, 3-minute battery mod does not work with this ROM. I just want to get that out there, guys, so you know that. So I'm running with the big circle. Well, I guess I should show you guys what all it comes with. Standard, you have your icon pack, or portrait, landscape, circle, big circle, text, and hidden. And your battery percentage, it's pretty much standard as well. Charging near symbol, your charging symbol near the percentage text flash. I'm using flash as opposed to tied or disabled. Let's see. Yeah, this does have the charging color too, which is pretty cool. I'm going with a green. It's only because of the theme I was using earlier. I kind of like that. It really worked well with it. But you can pick whatever color you want. And the color chooser is kind of like what they use in Resurrection Remix. So it's pretty cool. I'd love to see a little more color throughout the ROM, incorporated in, like where you pick the Unholy D. Well, I'll get to that. We're going to get to that. Your battery status style, all that, custom battery tile style at the bottom if you want to run with that. You go ahead and click on that. Brightness control, if you want to control your brightness by sliding your finger across the status bar, click that on. Carrier label. They do have where you can put in a custom carrier label. Right now I've got it lock screen and status bar, and what I went with was I put that in myself, UnholyDevs, because I figured it's their ROM, and when I do videos I like to showcase the video or the ROM's name in the upper left hand corner. That way you guys have no clue, listen to me, no question as to what ROM I'm reviewing at the point in time. They have clock settings here, standard settings, again, AM, PM, right, left, center, all that, that's there. I'd love to see some color in that, but again, not very many ROMs out there, if any, allows you to color that. I think Bolt's the only one, and it's still not 100% official yet. And as soon as it is, guys, I will have a review, and I'll put it out. Network traffic, if you guys want to run with that, here's where you go for that. System UI status bar options. This is where you're going to pick and choose what you want to actually show in your status bar. And last but not least is the Unholy logo. And you can bet your sweet ass I'm going to run with it. Anytime a ROM has a logo, I like to run with it. It just shows off their ROM. And I think I just think you should, actually. I mean, you don't have to. You guys don't have to run with it. But I love it. I like the fact that we can color it. And I went with red because I just thought it was fitting. And that is it for the custom settings in UnholyDevs. And also, Substratum's going to show up in your settings. Right now, the theme that I'm running, just so you guys are, know right off the bat, the theme I'm running is called Lunar. I haven't showcased this theme in some time. I figured it was time I brought it back, let you guys see. These are all the options you have in this, what it does and what it doesn't theme. But you guys have to remember there are a lot of apps that I don't have installed. Some apps that you guys may run that it does support, they'll all show up right in here. So just so you guys are aware of that. And as far as my fonts go, I'm running my fonts from 6, and they're called Caviar Dreams. So if you was to go into 6 and swipe over to the fonts, I'll show you here real quick. Let it finish loading. If you swipe over to Font Pack, scroll down, you'll see Caviar Dreams. That's the one I'm running. I usually either run Caviar Dreams or Caviar Dreams Thicker, depending on my mood and what the DPI settings and stuff like that are for the ROM. But that's what I'm running. Nothing else and nothing more than that. So I figured I'd let you guys see that. We're going to go ahead and hit the display settings real quick. Oops. Again, nothing really out of the ordinary on this. This is standard stuff. I haven't really found anything out of the ordinary that isn't on any of the other NuGet ROMs out right now. Sound, these are your sound settings. They do give you the link, ringtone, and notification switch here, which I love this feature. Again, I'm just so happy that they have that in there. It allows me to control, it allows me to leave my ringtone up and shut my notifications off, because I hardly ever get any phone calls, but I'm getting tons of notifications, so I can put them off and leave my ringtone up. But that's what that does. I'm glad they have it in there. Under other sounds, these are going to be your other sound settings here. And that's pretty much it for sounds. We're going to go ahead and look at security quickly, let you guys see that. I can tell you right now, not much into security that's not in any of the other ROMs out. It's just standard security settings. And as you can see, I didn't use the FED patch or anything, nothing like that. I flashed a ROM, I flashed my Open Gaps micro, and I flashed a super user, not super su, but super user, and booted up. Then after I booted it up, as soon as I got the boot up screen, the welcome screen, I rebooted back into recovery and I flashed my theme ready gaps. Then I rebooted back in the system, set it up. That's all I did, guys. And as you can see underneath encryption, it says encrypt phone. That means I am not encrypted. This ROM does not force encrypt, just so you guys are aware of that. That's pretty much it. We're going to go ahead and scroll down through developer options. Not a lot in developer options. Again, it's pretty standard. You have your USB debugging. Sometimes if you turn that USB debugging off, it will get you through the safety net pass. Sometimes it doesn't. Just a little trick. This ROM does come with a local terminal. I love that feature as well. And then under the animations, this ROM comes set at 1. I'll show you guys. It comes set at 1 on all 3 of these. It's okay. I just found it to be a little less smooth. I like it set at 0.5. It seems to run a little quicker. You still have your animations, and it just seems to smoothen the whole ROMs out, if you want to use that word, smoothen. It's not a real word, but... And that's about it. I can't think of anything else in settings. And the ROM's running great. I've had no random reboots, nothing like that. It seems that all my apps are working. I did, after flashing that super user app, go to the Play Store and download PHH''S super user app right here. That allows me to actually gain super user permissions. You go up in here, you go to settings, click on super user access, and I always click apps and ADB. You should see a little pop-up come up like that. Although, if I'm not mistaken, this actually has Magisk in it. And I'm almost positive it does. Yes, this ROM comes with Magisk right there. So, there you go. Guys, that's it. I can tell you right now, as far as I know, this is a very solid ROM, at least with the about 24 hours that I've been running it on my Nexus 6. Actually, a little longer than that. And I can highly recommend it, at least for you guys to give it a try and see what you think. If you liked the video, make sure you hit the like button or thumbs up button. I want to thank all of my subscribers, and I will see you guys on the next one.